Why don't you enjoy being around people like you used to? It seems like that question could help you see you're not alone. Lots of folks in their 60s, 70s, and even 80s have noticed that the people they once cherished have drifted away from their social circles. They still care, just in a different way. It's just that they haven't warmed up or found their spark. Nothing has changed on the inside, and often that change comes not from weakness, but from wisdom. In this video, we dive into 6 compelling reasons why you might be steering clear of social gatherings, even if you used to be the life of the party. These are meaningful insights. Each one shows something genuine that many older adults have gone through, even if they don't often share it. You might find some of the reasons quite surprising. While others might get a bit closer, one thing is certain. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of yourself and perhaps find it in your heart to forgive yourself a little more, because everyone deserves some space. Stick around until the end, and you'll see that there's absolutely nothing wrong with stepping back from certain people. It could really be one of the best things you do for yourself. Let's kick things off with number 1. The burden of past betrayal. As time goes by, we gather more than just memories. We also gather scars. Some are easy to forget, like a little disagreement here or a misunderstanding there, but others leave deeper marks. There are times of betrayal and rejection, moments when we opened our hearts only to face dismissal or hurt. As we grow older, we begin to feel the quiet echoes of those experiences more clearly. We become more cautious about giving of ourselves, not out of anger, but because we've learned that not everyone deserves a front row seat in our lives. Consider the situation of an 81-year-old woman, the person who used to host dinner parties every weekend, filling her home with singing and laughter, has seen many changes over the years. Friends have drifted apart. One betrayed her trust, and another vanished after her husband passed away. It wasn't a huge heartbreak, just a collection of little letdowns. At the moment, she prefers solitude over company, as she finds joy and peace rather than the hustle and bustle of social interactions. As we grow older, we develop a sort of protective layer formed by our experiences. While it may not always feel pleasant, it often seems essential. Over time, we begin to notice how swiftly people can change or drift away. Begin taking care of your time. Take care of your heart and your trust. It's not about being distant. It's about staying alert. Older adults often enjoy giving deeply and generously, but sometimes they can surprise us by letting down their guard unexpectedly. Taking a moment to reflect when something feels off or untrustworthy is a valuable lesson from the cycle of repetition. You begin to step back, focus less on what others say, and more on how you feel once they've gone. Psychologists have discovered that relationship fatigue can happen when the effort to connect starts to feel greater than the joy it brings. And this is particularly true for those who have faced emotional challenges. It's perfectly okay to feel that way. It means you've experienced life. You've noticed individuals who can do both wonderful and not so great things. And when you choose distance now, it's not because of any hard feelings. It's knowledge. Your heart is truly special at this point in your life, and not everyone is worthy of being let in anymore. When you were a kid, you probably put up with a lot of pointless talk, chit-chat, lighthearted banter, or just chatting for the fun of it. But as you age, you start to handle things a bit less. It's not that you're avoiding people. You just start to really enjoy the quiet moments more. Silence actually feels kind of full now. It's super refreshing, and once you tap into that inner calm, it's tough to stick around with surface-level people. Meet Harold, a 76-year-old guy who used to be in sales. He was a really likable guy who could easily start a chat with anyone. But now he steers clear of events that need a lot of mingling. He skips big family get-togethers now unless he's actually into it. When you ask him why, he just says, "I'm over chatting just to chat." He's not into being alone. He's all about finding meaning, keeping it real, and enjoying those chill moments that don't need any showboating. As we get older, our emotional energy really starts to matter more. Wanting to show off just kind of goes away. The urge to show what you can do kind of disappears. What comes up instead is a wish for realness. We're looking for conversations that come off as genuine, not rehearsed. And if that's not an option, a lot of folks would just prefer to chill at home with a good book and a cup of tea instead of being surrounded by noise that only makes them feel just as lonely as they did before. It's not really about feeling restless. It's all about picking and choosing. It's pretty cool to pick where you hang out and who you spend time with. You deserve to save your energy and focus on what brings you peace, so don't feel bad about saying no to invites. It's not about dodging things. It's all about growing up, and the more we embrace this kind of understanding, the more we see that life can be fulfilling without a big group around. Sometimes just having a good chat or chilling out in silence feels way better than spending hours in awkward small talk. If you've been steering clear of loud parties and all that noise lately, don't worry, you're not going completely off the deep end. Knowing what energizes you and what drains you is one of the best perks of getting older. If you're still hanging out with this video and found these tips helpful, drop a comment on number 2 to let me know you're around. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you won't miss any videos. At some point, you just take a look around and notice that everything's different, including yourself. The lingo is totally different. The values are not the same. Everything's moving so fast. The chats, the expectations, even the relationships can feel a bit overwhelming. During all this change, it's easy to feel like you're fading into the background, like no one's really listening or caring. It's not that you messed up. It's just that folks aren't putting in the effort to see things from your perspective anymore. Meet Mary, a 79-year-old who used to teach school. She loved hanging out with her younger relatives, sharing her life story about raising 5 kids, working full-time, and still making time to volunteer. But nowadays, she says they hardly ever ask questions. When she talks, they just nod and glance at their phones. It's not meant to be harmful. It just drops off, and after a while, that space starts to feel like a huge chasm. It's one of those quiet reasons folks begin to grow apart. It's not like they don't care. When you're in a place where no one really listens, it can get pretty tiring, and you eventually start to prefer your own company. It's nice, right? You feel secure. You know how intense your emotions are, how vibrant you feel, and all the knowledge you have. But when people stop noticing that, it's tempting to hold back and not share it anymore. This type of loneliness isn't just about being by yourself. It's all about not being understood, you know? Even when you're around a bunch of folks, it can feel like no one sees you. You throw out an idea, and they just switch gears. You share your worries, and they think you're being over the top. Once those moments fade away, you might think that silence is the way to go. Psychologists refer to this as emotional invalidation, which happens when your feelings are kind of brushed off or downplayed. It's something that hits a lot of older folks harder than just chatting with us, since it doesn't come from a straightforward rejection. It all adds up through those little moments over time. But here's the deal. Your opinions still count. Your voice still matters. And just because some people aren't listening doesn't mean you're any less important. It just means you've moved past some chats, and that's totally cool. Sometimes you just got to realize that you don't need to push yourself into their space. It's about finding those people or spots where you don't need to say much, where just being there is enough, and someone really pays attention. Don't just sit around waiting for your chance to talk. When those folks are rare, it's totally normal to step back and recharge in your own space. That's where you really get to know yourself, and there's nothing wrong with that. As the worry of being a burden increases, a quiet concern starts to emerge. Not the fear of illness or death, but the fear of being a burden to those we care about. It's a feeling that's tough to put into words, yet it's something we can't overlook. It's great to brighten someone's day. It's tough to reach out for help when they really need it. Please stay quiet. Why don't you stay home? Please keep your distance. It's not really about pride. It's all about love. It's all about dignity. It's about feeling like your presence is welcomed and appreciated. It's not that you don't want to go. It's just that you don't want anyone to feel like they have to pick you up. You hold back from sharing your concerns, not just due to a lack of trust, but also because you don't want to weigh them down. It seems like your world is gently getting smaller. Meet Frank, an 84-year-old widower who cherished spending weekends with his daughter's family. As his mobility decreases, he finds himself saying no to their invitations more often. When asked why, he shares, "I don't want them to rearrange their lives. Their kids have jobs, so I might hold them back a bit." Even though his family has always made him feel welcome, the worry of being a burden has overshadowed his wish for closeness. This is a challenge that many older adults encounter. It can feel like the more you rely on others, the less they rely on you. When you truly value relationships, it might make you pause before taking the next step. You spent so much time being strong and caring for others, and now asking for help might seem a bit unusual or even uncomfortable. This fear comes from something very human, the wish to be loved not because of obligation, but because of happiness. When you feel like your presence might be a bit of a bother, you tend to step back. It's better to enjoy your own company than to feel like you're just a duty to someone. But let me share something with you. People who care about you really want to support you. They might not always express it perfectly. They might not always get it just right. Your value isn't defined by your freedom. Your presence is what counts. If the people around you genuinely care, your needs will always be welcomed with open arms. They will be a delight. However, fear still lingers and influences how we act. Staying quiet when you feel like chatting, keeping your distance when you'd love to hang out, holding back when you want to join in, and slowly drifting away from others can feel simpler than facing the challenge of their expectations. If you're enjoying this video and found these insights helpful, I'd love to hear from you. Just drop a comment with the number 4 below to let me know you're here. If you haven't subscribed yet, I think it would be great for you to do so and turn on the bell so you won't miss any videos. We truly appreciate your support, which allows us to keep creating great content to inform and inspire you. All right, let's keep going. The quiet conclusion of a long-standing relationship. Some relationships don't conclude with arguments or farewells. They simply drift apart. People evolve in various ways. Priorities shift, and life gently nudges you in different directions, often in ways that are hard to notice. It's easy to lose touch without even realizing it. One day, you might find that the friends who used to fill your calendar are no longer around in your everyday life. It can be quite uplifting sometimes. Sometimes it feels serene, but at other moments, it brings a gentle ache, like saying goodbye to something you once cherished. You reminisce about lunches, those shared laughs over the phone, and you find yourself wondering where it all went. Have they made any changes? Ruth is a lovely 73-year-old woman who enjoyed taking weekly walks with her best friend from high school. As time went by, those walks turned into monthly outings, then annual ones, and eventually faded away completely. There were no arguments or quarrels, just a gentle understanding that they had run out of things to say to each other. Their lives had taken on a new direction, varied interests, unique rhythms. We still care about each other, but I believe we've expressed everything we needed to, Ruth said. This experience happens more often than many people think. Relationships that thrive on shared experiences, raising kids, collaborating, and being close can sometimes struggle when those times come to an end. As you near the end of life, you may notice that the people around you don't quite resonate with you anymore. That's not a failure. It's a way to grow. As you begin to focus on how you use your time and energy, you'll find yourself being more choosy about the company you keep. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about knowing what you need. Sometimes it's nice to have a little space, room to ponder, to contemplate. Old friends who used to bring you joy might now feel a bit draining. What used to be easy conversations now seem a bit awkward, and rather than pushing through, you decide to take a step back, not out of resentment, but out of self-respect. Many folks often mention that getting older can mean saying goodbye to loved ones. Sometimes it's important to recognize that letting go can be a choice made from understanding that intimacy without true connection can feel lonelier than being by yourself. When you distance yourself from certain people, it doesn't always mean you're trying to avoid others. It's all about celebrating the transformations within you. It's great to see how you've grown, and that's perfectly fine. Embrace rather than apologize. Having your own company is such a blast. At some point, you just kind of stop looking for big groups and start appreciating your own company. It's not about being bitter or feeling lonely. It's about realizing something that a lot of folks never get to see. Your own company is all you need. When you figure out that you don't need to justify yourself, keep anyone entertained, or act like someone you're not. You've probably had people around you for a long time. Back in those days, you probably didn't get many chances to just chill and let your mind wander without any distractions. Once you get a taste of that freedom, it feels pretty special. Check out Gerald, an 82-year-old dude who used to thrive on all the social vibes. His place was where everyone hung out. He totally had the loudest voice in the room. These days, he gets way more joy from bird watching on his balcony than throwing parties. When asked if she feels lonely, she chuckles and says, "I've got plenty of stories in my head to keep me company every single day." What she's found isn't loneliness, but a sense of peace. This change can really throw people off. They might assume you're leaving because you're sad, but honestly, you're just connecting with something more profound. A chill vibe that's low-key but full of depth. A life that's not so hectic but way more satisfying. You don't feel like you have to fill every quiet moment, justify every decision, or be there for everyone all the time. And it's not about dodging anything. It's all about wisdom. It's like a clear understanding that you get after spending years helping out others. When you pick solitude, it turns into a chill spot. It's a spot where you can heal, think things through, and let your true self shine. As you get older, you start to see that some of your best days are just about you. No one else is needed. Take your time and go at your speed. Come up with your own ideas. Just do your thing. And for the first time in ages, you feel totally free. It's not that the world has changed, but you've finally found your spot in it. If you're still watching this video and found these insights valuable, please comment number 6 below to let me know you are here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to subscribe. Ring the bell so you don't miss a video. Your support helps us continue to create great content to inform and inspire you. All right, let's wrap things up with some final thoughts. Hey, what caught your attention today? Which of these 6 reasons hit home for you because it felt like it was written just for your life? It could be that you're just wrapping up an old chapter, or maybe you figure out that you don't have to justify your need for peace anymore. Either way, I hope this has jogged your memory about something important. You're not broken. You're on your way to becoming something great. Steering clear of people doesn't mean you're grumpy or not social. It just means you're smarter. You've been around for a long time, and that gives you the right to choose how you protect your peace. Take your time and find what matters to you without getting caught up in what everyone else is doing. Being alone can be pretty meaningful. Setting boundaries is powerful, and it feels great to stop trying to prove your worth by being popular or always hanging out with people. If you're pulling away from folks, maybe take a second to think about why that is. What you're looking for might not be about missing something, but more about finding the right fit. Hey, just a little reminder from this video. Even when you're quiet, you can still be noticed. Even in those lonely moments, you're not alone. There's so many others out there who get it and are on the same journey, brave and understanding what it means to face tough times. Thank you for joining us today. We are excited to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share what you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great inspiration and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like and subscribe and share. Your support helps us to create good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.